I have looked through the, and I've listened to what the factional chairman of the PDP in the state, Dan Orbih, has said, especially regarding my briefing to the State House of Assembly, specifically the 2009 briefing that is referring to. Again, this is another way of trying to misinform the public. For instance, it's mentioned that I did say we spent about 4 billion in designing of roads. That is so far from the truth. When you have budgets, you have a code, and in the budget you have a summary of what you have done, which is what we presented to the House. At the end of which there were an extra giving breakdown of what it is that we have done. And in the budget, the way it was captured talked about study, design, and construct. And what I presented that year when I talked about 4 billion was study, design, and construct, which included the Siloko road, the 5 junction roads that are being done, and then the Costeni Sonoro areas. The construction of all of that. So when he's talking about 4 billion, saying it's 4 billion for designing, it's just far from the truth. The totality of the roads that were done that year, the cost of doing the designing was about 200 million. If we were to follow the federal government approved rates, what it should have cost was 1.2 billion, which is what the companies and the consultants submitted. Of course, the governor said he wasn't going to follow the federal government rates, that this is a state, we don't have financing, and that this should be negotiated. We worked on all of this, and the governor eventually approved 200 million. So 200 million and 4 billion, I don't see the connection. So what they have cleverly done is to take the totality of the sum of what has been spent for studies, design, and construction work that went on that year. Again, I mentioned to the State House of Assembly that those were joint contracts as Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Works. You know, one of the reasons a lot of our roads have failed is that we have not done proper studies in the past, and designs are always wrong. In some cases, the roads are done before the designs are made. At the beginning of the inception of this government, the governor invited Julius Berger, PW, most of the big companies to come down to industry, and they made it clear: if you don't do your stormwater master plan, if you don't do your study, we can't work. And even when I assumed office here, I called the flood control experts in the ministry. They told me that we have 4 problem areas in Benin City. When we went ahead to do the stormwater master plan, it showed that we have 23 problem areas. So that is why you see it is good to do studies, you know, before you do your designs. And what they produce for us is what you see up there in the board. That's the stormwater master plan for Benin City. And what I can do is just take you quickly through it. Because if you take a look at it, you see that from the middle of it, we have a very big black line showing that Benin City has 2 main watersheds. Because what defloods a city, it's not the side drains that you have. They are the primary drains that deflood the city. And if we were to do the PDP style of just eye marking, you will see that the rainfall from this area, you know, the drains that we do should have been going to Ipoba River because of proximity. But because water must always go to the lowest point, the only way it goes up is by mechanical device. We are forced to take all the flood waters to Ogba River, which is so far away. And those watersheds are shown by the arrows. That is, when it rains, the direction of flow, depending on the contour mapping of the city. The yellow lines that you see are the road network that we have in Benin. All these roads are carrying side drains. But those side drains must be connected to these deep blue lines, which are the primary drains that flood the city. And those are the ones that we do not have. But the only thing that we've had in existence in the past, which were done by General Ogbemudia, you can see it's just around the center city. It doesn't go out, and the Benin City has grown. And most of these are inside the moat, the underground drains. They are insufficient. What we are taking on now is these two major watersheds, the West Moat catchment, as Uwelo catchment west and Uwelo catchment east. This is a distance of about 7.1 kilometers. Okay? And this is a deep, what the governor calls a modern moat. Okay? Depending on the upstream side, it's about 3 meters deep, and downstream, it's almost 12 meters deep to have a very good invert for flow of water. What you see here that looks so small is what we call a stilling basin. Okay? Because you are going to be collecting flood waters, not only from these two catchment, but other catchment areas into this river. There is a need for this river to be protected. We don't want to destroy the river and destroy the area. So we have had to create a stilling basin here. This stilling basin is 120 feet by 120 feet. This distance from here to here is 1 kilometer. And these are covered concrete culverts because of the steepness of this area. So we are having 2 of it run into the stilling basin before it goes into the river. If we don't have it covered, and a child, even an adult, is walking past and it's raining, he falls in, that person is gone. The stilling basin here has over 18,000 tons of boulders, 20,000 cubic meters of cement, and geotextile material. The geotextile material is to prevent water seepage, so that the water has to be cleansed first before it goes into the river. During the cleaning process, with the geotextile material at the bottom, it will not seep. Those are the extra miles that we are going in trying to do what we do. If you look at this map, this stormwater master plan, it shows you the low points and the high points as you go along. We can take a simple road. This is the airport road. That's the King Square. You see, as you flow along, it tells you when you get to Boundary Road Junction here, it's a very high point. From there, it starts descending. That's the low point. And then it starts rising again, the high point. So side drains cannot deflood this place. You need underground. And this is the level of details we have had to go in order to be able to design our roads. And this is what they have not been doing. The problem of Benin City is not roads. Our problem here is flood and erosion. Ogbemudia constructed roads in the past, but they are all gone. And they are gone because the 3 problems that every road has is water, water, and water. And what we are building are not just side drains, we are building storm drains. We are going through climate change problems. So we are not building drains for the next 50 to 100 years storm. So when Dan Orbih is comparing our roads, to that of NDDC, it should be specific on the airport road that is making comparison, because right after the river there's an NDDC contract. In that contract, there is no stone base, there are no drains, there are no street lights, there are no walkways. And he's looking at that contract per kilometer and comparing it with airport road, which he calls 8 kilometers. But he forgets that we are talking about 6 lanes. If a normal road, where you have 2 lanes, you call it 6 kilometers. When you are having 6, what do? You multiply by 3. So because there is this attempt to deceive the public, you will be told that it is 8 kilometers. But he has forgotten that he needs to multiply by 3 to have the actual area that we are covering. And we have had to do a lot of excavation on airport road to take away the bad soil and to bring back good soil and compact it. We have double cell culverts and drains to serve both utilities and drainage. He has not mentioned that in the contract. We have had to make provisions for houses that were demolished, for which compensations were made. They are all part of the same contract that is talking about. So it's very convenient to compare. One would have thought that he should have made a comparison with the Abuja Airport Road, the Benin Airport Road and the Abuja Airport Road. Look at the number of kilometers. I think that's about 270 billion contract. If you look at all the contracts we are doing in Edo State, schools, roads, hospitals, including the drilling rigs that is talked about, it's not up to 200 billion. But on one road, federal government is spending over 280 billion, just the road to airport in Abuja. I'm sure you are aware of the 3-kilometer runway for 60 billion. We are not doing those kind of things. So it's just an attempt to misinform the public. If you take a look at Sapler Road, look at what it used to be and what it is now. Look at the road markings. Those are thermoplastic road markings. In 5 minutes they dry. At night they glow. So that when people are driving on the road, they can see clearly. You know, we have solar stores as part of the contracts for these roads, but they won't talk about them. So for me, I think what Dan Orbih and his party are trying to do is to distract us. And the simple thing for us to do is just remain focused and do our work. Because my expectation is that Dan Orbih, as chairman of the factional chairman of PDP, should be telling us that PDP ruled this state for 10 years. And then he should say, these are the roads that we did. He should name them and then compare those roads with what we are doing. You know, if in 10 years you can't find one road to compare, and then you're talking of NDDC and federal government, then it's a shame. If you have failed, you say you have failed. And I think that Dan Orbih and his party have failed in this state, and they should just go and rest.